Okay, so in this video we're going to talk about adding sounds. We're going to look at all the different sounds that are in Zelda, and then we're going to go ahead and add our sounds to the game that we have come across already. So let's actually take a look and go inside this cave real quick that we have been dealing with the past couple of videos. And one sound that you know is missing already is the sound of the text. So when the text is going, there's a sound associated with that. And then when he picks up the item, there is some music associated with that as well. So let's go ahead and into the cave and see what it should sound like. Okay, and so basically that's it. It doesn't seem like a lot, but when you're talking about the game as a whole, sounds add so much to the game. And so in your file that you can get down through your GitHub link, so in that file, you're going to see a folder called sounds. Okay, so in this folder, there's quite a bit of sounds, and these are all the LOZ sounds are just like a second sound, or a couple, maybe a 2-second sound or a 3-second sound, whereas some of these other ones are sounds that are that repeat. Okay. And so, like, for instance, the overworld, if we were to click this, okay, that's something that will be played on repeat as you're in the overmap, okay? And so we could add that right now, but it's a little extra that we would have to do with the game. Because you want that music playing like when it starts, and so the way you have to interact with a web page before that starts, I kind of want to do something a little bit different before we go ahead and put in the overworld music. But for right now, we will go ahead and put in the text, just that. So when the text comes up, it plays that every time the text is added. Okay, and then when you get the item, you hear this sound. Okay, and so we have both of these in here now. When you're adding sounds, and maybe you want to work ahead, you're not wanting to wait for the video. It's very important that you're looking at the extension of the sound. So this is MP3 and this is wave. So all these single, sounds are just like wave files. And, they could be MP3s as well, but it just so happened that the sounds that I downloaded are wave. Okay. And so, you just need to make sure that you are thinking about that extension as you add them. So without going into it anymore, let's just go in straight into the code. All right. So here we have this starter code. Your code, if you've been following along, probably looks exactly like it. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to add a new function. Okay, and we can do it right after any one of these. And so the function that we're going to add is just basically the function that plays sound. Okay, and so here we're just going to say function. I'll move it to the top. I'll make it a little bigger too. Okay, so play sound, and then we're going to take in a source. And so we got to do a few things. First, we're going to create a variable for the sound. Okay, so this is a new audio. And then we're gonna give it its source, just like we do with images. Okay, so we say src, and this is where we're gonna take in the source. Okay, so whatever is passed in here will get passed here. Okay, and then we're just gonna play. So sound dot play. Now, when you're first starting out with games and you start playing around with sound, you're really tempted to just make it a variable at the top of the like just a global variable up here, like let sound equal new audio, and then you're tempted to just say, this sound is equal to, we're going to make this sound equal to the sword sound. Okay, and then you just play it wherever it is. But what happens with that is you're just playing that same, you're just changing that same variable. So when you hit play on that same variable, it may start the sound over before it's fully completed. And so what you don't want that. So what this does is it makes a new variable for every single sound that gets played. And so if two sounds were overlapping and they're the same sound, the sound just doesn't start over and start playing again. It actually plays the first one fully and then the second one fully. And that's what's great about this function. Okay, and so now we want to call this function in a few places. So where do we want to call this? If we think about it, the text is added where we are drawing it to the screen. Okay, so we want to go down into draw game object, and so let's look at that. So draw game object right here, and so if game object is text, and coming down here we see that this is where we are adding text for the first line, and so I'm just going to add a new line here. Okay, and I'm going to make a call to my function, and this is not going to work, so I need to provide a source. And so the source for us, because it's in a folder, now if it were within the same directory as the code, we could just call the name itself, but since it's in another folder within this directory, we actually have to use the /. Okay, and so that's going to look like this. So here we have /, and this gets us into a folder in the directory, and now we need to tell it what folder we want to go into. And so our folder is called sounds, and then we need to give it the exact name of that that file we are looking for. And for us, it's LOZ, Legend of Zelda _text _slow.wave. Okay, and so that's that. And then we want to go ahead and put it down here as well. And so this is for the first line, this is for the second line, and they're playing in both things. And so let's go ahead and see what that looks like. Okay, that looks perfect. Okay, obviously we don't have the sword sound in yet, so now we want to add that. Okay, and so where do we pick up that sword? Well, it's right here. We want to game object collision. So that's where we collide and pick up that sword. This is where it's drawing that sword to the screen until we pick it up. And so we don't want to play it every time it is drawn to the screen. That would sound ridiculous. Let's go ahead and do it just so you see what it sounds like. And so here we have sounds. And which one do we want? We want item.mp3. Okay, so we're just going to purposely make a mistake. Okay, and so That sounds horrendous. All right. So you don't ever want to do that. You want it to be in a function where it is going to end, that condition ends and it gets changed to something else, like a Boolean flag gets turned to false after that point, and so it only plays once. Okay, and so that's kind of what our game object collision does. Okay, so we don't want this here. I'm going to go ahead and take this and cut it so I can just paste it into the game object collision. And our game object collision is right here. Okay, and so if we go down to the bottom of this, I am going to put it right here. Now, let's see here. I'm going to put it right here. Okay, and so let's go ahead and look at what that sounds like now. Okay, perfect. And so this is just the first time that we're going to add sounds, but we have lots more sounds to add to the game, including sounds that are put on repeat. So we'll learn how to do that, so that if you're thinking about making another RPG that is not Zelda, you'll know how to have like repeating sounds for the whole game, like repeating battle sounds and then overworld sounds and so forth. So that was it, and let's go ahead and so we're going to go into the next video where we're going to actually put the HUD up here. Okay, and so the HUD includes quite a bit of things. It includes the where you are in the map, includes how many rupees you have, and bombs and keys, what your B button does, what your A button does, and then I'm thinking that's it. There may be one other thing, but we're going to look at that in our next video. So I hope you enjoyed this really short video, and I will see you in the next one.